I'm known for my questionable marriage, and this year I might be bathing in a divorce. Hey everybody, welcome to my channel. I am Raphael and I'm here to review season 5, episode 8 of The Real Housewives Who Have to Ride Other Housewives like it's their job of Salt Lake City. So we start the episode off with Meredith and Lisa meeting up at this spa place in the middle of the mountains. Lisa unfortunately invites Heather, so she has to unfortunately show up. So Meredith and Lisa, they're relaxing, they're getting their spa treatment, their massages. After, they go out to the balcony to relax, to catch up, to see what's going on. Heather unfortunately shows up with her unfortunate story, so she unfortunately sits down and she starts giving her version of the story that happened between her and Braunwyn last week, allegedly, according to Heather. Heather's like, you know, I went over to Braunwyn's house with a good intention, with an open mind and a good heart, and I'm sorry, I don't want to get emotional, but I was basically attacked. You know, she basically threw me out the house. Like, I told her, like, Braunwyn, no, I want to stay. Like, I want to fix this. She wasn't having it. She kicked me out the house. She had her dog attack me. She basically grabbed my hair and threw me out the house. She said if I didn't get down on my knees and begged her for forgiveness and told her that I was a terrible person, that I wouldn't be allowed to go on this couples trip with my blow-up doll, you know, because I'm single. So, you know, it was a really, really traumatizing moment. And I'm like, well, first of all, you know, let's put Heather on hold because let's look at the background, like the scenery behind Meredith and Lisa. It was so beautiful, like the snowy mountains with the tree. I actually thought it was like CGI or a green screen or something. I'm like, it looks so, so beautiful and perfect. It must be fake. Okay, so back to Heather. Heather, when did this happen? Like, when did this, this whole sob story that she went on to say that she's basically the victim, that Braunwyn basically is the terrible person in this whole situation. And then Lisa, Lisa, she went on to spin her narrative and she's like, well, you know what, Heather, it's actually funny because she actually called me after that whole fiasco at Angie K's house. And she actually called me and she said, is everything going to be okay with you and John? Are you going to be able to make it to, the couple's trip or whatever? And I took that offensively. Like, wait, first of all, John is the CEO of his company. What are you trying to say? Of course we can make it. And I'm like, okay, like, let me connect Heather's story with Lisa's story. And it's just not making sense. Like, I'm like, did I miss the episode? Like, is there like a in-between episode that I didn't see or something? Like, how is Heather spinning this whole narrative? And Lisa, especially Lisa, how are you spinning this narrative that Braunwyn called you to be shady? I feel like Braunwyn was genuinely asking Lisa, like, is everything gonna be okay? Because Whitney and her husband are also coming. Like, I don't want any tension. She was just genuinely curious and looking out for you. But now Lisa's like, what does John being a CEO has to do with anything? Like, both of them are literally crazy. And then on top of that, I'm thinking, okay, at least Meredith is the only one that has common sense, right? Because then Heather asks Meredith, what do you think about this whole situation? And then she brings Angie K into this. She's like, well, you know what? I mean, I actually talked to Angie K's suspicious husband, Sean, at the party, the other day. And I didn't really like that he was on a podcast. First of all, let's pause it right there. Who is interviewing Sean for a podcast? Like, anybody's just a guest on a podcast nowadays. Like, what? Like, and to talk about what? But let's continue. She's like, he was on a podcast and he mentioned my son Brooks, and I just didn't really like it because he basically, said that I was using him as an LGBTQ ally, escape from the rumors last year, because Meredith, she put out, oh, you want to talk about the husband, last year, insinuating, at least to us, that she was basically, behind the rumors of Sean allegedly being, gay or whatever. So then, Sean went on this podcast apparently, and he basically said, yeah, I feel like after the blowback, that Meredith got from everybody, the audience, she tried to use her son as an escape, as a scapegoat. Like, oh, no, I can't be homophobic, or I can't be this, or I'm not accusing him of anything. I would never do that because of my son. It's a sticky situation because it involves somebody's child. But at the same time, Meredith, where was this mouth and energy when Lisa mentioned Electra a couple of episodes ago to Angie and she threw that in her face? You didn't stick up for her then, did you? Like, it's only a big deal when it comes to your son, Brooks. On top of that, you're the one that constantly has Brooks on camera. He's basically the friend of the show. He's like halfway to getting a snowflake for next season. You're constantly like, oh yeah, this happened with the cast. This happened with the cast. Like, okay, Teresa and Gia. 2.0, and I believe he's like 21 at this point, so I don't know. It's kind of like fair game, but at the same time it's not, so I don't know. And then Suspicious Sean, what are you doing podcast for? Like, what is there to talk about with him? At this point, all three of you, just need to go back into the sauna room, the spa room, lay down and just, instead of massaging your body, massage your brains. Because what? Then we head over to Braunwyn's house that looks like a box of crayons. She sits down to call her husband Santa Claus, who's on the other side of the world. He's in Korea, I believe, for work. And she's like, oh, are you ready for our anniversary trip? With the whole cast? And I'm like, no, wait a minute. That was the first red flag right there, Braunwyn. Why are you having such an intimate moment, such as an anniversary thing between you and your husband with the whole entire cast? Unless you're planning on, swapping partners or whatever, because how they get down in Utah, allegedly, right? And Mr. Santa Claus, he's just like, oh, well, yeah, I'm excited or whatever, I guess, to relax. But I don't want any funny business with those people. Well, damn, Santa Claus is really strict around here. Like, relax. It's really not that serious. You're on the Real Housewives. Relax. Eat some bread or something. And Braunwyn is just like, okay, I promise you, it's going to be okay. And I'm like, Braunwyn, that was your second red flag and your second warning. But, we'll see how this whole thing plays out later, right? So then we also saw that she called Mary. Mary couldn't make it because she's going out, to spend the weekend with her son. Understandable. We see Angie K and her suspicious husband and his hat packing up. Whitney and her husband are packing up. Then we head over to Lisa's house. Her and John are also packing up. She tells John, you know what, John? The real reason why it hurts me when people accuse me of being a bad mom? Because I tried to be a really good mom, especially to Henry, baby gorgeous. I recently threw a birthday party for Henry and nobody showed up. And I just feel like, am I being a terrible mom? I tried to be a good mom to him and I just feel like I'm probably being a terrible mom. So when people say I'm a terrible mom, maybe I am a bad mom. I just don't know what I'm doing anymore, John. Can I get a Kit Kat and a Diet Coke? Thank you. Oh, and can I get 2 tacos from Taco Bell, please? Thank you. And make it quick because I'm about to cry. And I just can't stand it when people say I'm a bad mom. And what do you expect, Lisa? If you threw a birthday party for Henry last minute and nobody showed up, and there was another party at the same time, then what do you expect? You can't just expect, oh, let me just cancel and go to Lisa Barlow's party. And secretly, the children didn't show up because the moms were secretly Monica fans. They're like, no, Billy, you're gonna go to somebody else's house. I'm Team Monica. I can't stand Lisa. I watched you the way you moved last season. So no, my son is not coming to your party. That's the real reason. So then John, he's just like, I actually talked to what's his name, to Whitney's husband last week, which I didn't get a chance to review the episode last week because it landed on Halloween. I explained it in my review for Potomac this past week. And I watched the episode and it was very interesting. I'm like, what in the Real Housewives of New Jersey is going on here? We have the husbands having a sit down and an awkward conversation. Whitney's husband, what's her name? Lisa basically wants an apology from him. And I'm like, Lisa, if I was him, you're not getting shit from me. Like, absolutely not. Like, you're the one that stepped to me. You're the one that kept coming up to me, like provoking a fight between somebody or whatever. And yeah, it was wrong for, what is Whitney's husband's name? Whitney's husband. It was wrong for him to kind of, lean forward a little bit to Lisa. I didn't like that because obviously you're like taller than her. You could just squish her. And then John, he came out of nowhere. It was just crazy that whole entire episode. The way John just, I'm like, ooh, John, I've never really seen it for him like that. Like, I'm not into him like that. But, something about the way he grabbed, Whitney's husband. He said, back away from my wife. I'm like, just my panties were a little bit soaked. But anyways, so Lisa's like, you know what? I really want an apology. No, I want an apology. And again, Lisa continues being delusional. I thought that she was just like this with the women, but she's obviously like this with the men. Like, you want an apology from him when you went up to him, bad-mouthing his wife? Like, so they all get together for the couples cast trip to Palm Springs. And I believe that this is the first cast trip with the husbands, right? Yes? Which I don't mind because I actually find the husbands on the show very interesting, unlike Jersey. And Braunwyn, she brought out the luxury this episode because she brought out the giant jumbo private jet. Not the little rinky-dink one that Whitney had a couple of episodes ago. Like, this is an actual private jet. The one that Whitney had, you remember the one that Whitney had, the one that, they were just squeezed in like sardines and they didn't have enough oxygen on the plane and you could barely order anything while, squeezing into somebody like, flight attendant, can I get a mimosa? Ow, Meredith, you're stepping on my foot. In her private jet, in Whitney's private jet, there was I think there was about like 2 seats and you had to rotate every hour or whatever. In Braunwyn's jet, this one, you could do exercises, you could do jumping jacks, you could do push-ups if you want, like you could stretch, you could lay out, put your feet up and everything. Not Whitney's and Heather. Loser. Heather's at home, watching this episode like, like, did nobody like my iconic moment from last season? Like, screenshot, timeline, receipts. Like, I wasn't good enough to go to Palm Springs. No, you weren't. Stay at home. So they finally make it to Palm Springs. They also rented out these black trucks for everybody. And I'm like, ooh, Braunwyn, like your money, or at least your husband's money, it's just, it's doing something to me. It's bringing out the gold digger in me. So they're, making their way to the villa or whatever. Then I believe Angie K looks so pretty in this yellow Power Ranger outfit that she had on with her big ass goggles. She's talking to Justin, who's sitting next to her, and she's like, Justin, is everything going to be okay between you and Lisa? And Justin, he pokes fun of it, and he's just like, yeah, I'm not gonna be jumping at anybody. I'm not gonna be leaping at anybody. Haha. Angie surprised me because she was just like, oh no, it's okay if you jump at me. I jump back. And I believe it too. I feel like Angie's the type to have a blade underneath her tongue. Don't let her fool you, Miss Mafia. I'm pretty sure those big ass binocular glasses that she has on, they probably transform into like a weapon or a sword or something. So I see what you're doing, Angie. Suspicious Sean, he's there looking suspicious with his hat on. And then Todd, Santa Claus, he's in the front seat. He just looks so grumpy the whole time. He's just sitting there like, I'm like, somebody please get that man a good 2-hour nap. I know how it feels. So eventually they finally make it to the house, and the house is beautiful. It's like this giant villa in the middle of who knows where. And I believe it costs $20,000 a night. Whitney, she's looking around like, oh, wow, Braunwyn, it looks so pretty in here. It reminds me of Barbie's dream house. It looks so nice. I love it. Thank you so much. Lisa, she gets lost. She's over there avoiding Whitney, and Braunwyn, she feels some type of way. And she's like, I just don't understand it. I looked out for Lisa, and now she just disappeared, and she doesn't even care about me or whatever. And I'm like, okay, so it's just everybody's just overreacting this episode. Like, she's just exploring the house, and the house is huge. So I wouldn't put it past Lisa if she got lost or whatever, or maybe this big ass house has a Taco Bell or something, and Lisa probably just went to it. It'll take like maybe a good 10-15 minutes to try to find your way around. So eventually that was that. And then we see Zeph, Meredith's husband. He's also there. He is such a frat guy. He's just looking around like, yeah, like this house is like totally cool. Like, I need a bathtub, like, rock on, like, yeah, like, oh my God, we're gonna have a good time at this house. Like, dude, it's so good. And I'm like, but I'm really attracted to him. His persona is just such a nice vibe, but then, he messes it up in a second. So then I believe some lady, she shows up. Her name is Rocky, and she was just over the bullshit already. She walks in like, okay, let's get this. I need the commission. She's a jeweler, right? So her, Braunwyn, and Santa Claus, they sit down. She brings out these boxes, and I believe that Braunwyn, she's like, oh, I want this to be my anniversary gift. I want you to buy this for me. So then Rocky, she opens up the box, and it's a necklace worth, I believe, $4 million. $4 million. I mean, that's a lot. And actually, I have an exclusive here. Nobody else knows this except me, but I actually have the necklace that she brought. Hold on, because Rocky actually gave it to me just, for this review. Yes, I have to be very careful because I have to return it by tomorrow. 4 million pennies. Close enough, right? Like, close enough. I mean, it could pass for the same necklace, right? Like, I'm basically Braunwyn. And Rocky, Rocky had a slight attitude because Braunwyn, she was just like, oh, this is nice or whatever. Me and my husband, we're just gonna go look in the other room and, we'll come back to you. Rocky was just like, no, absolutely not. Braun, give me that fucking necklace. Does anybody else on the cast want the necklace? Because she's obviously wasting my time. Like, you made this lady drive 4 hours from Los Angeles to Palm Springs because that's how long it takes, just for you to be like, oh, I'm not really sure. Like, did you actually buy anything? Or was this all for show, Braunwyn? Meanwhile, Meredith, Lisa, and John are by the pool. They're relaxing. Zeph, he comes on over to tell his wife, Meredith, some interesting news. He's like, hey, it's really nice out, right? Like rock on, dude, like for sure. Like, yeah, totally. But, honey, I actually have to leave early in the morning. And I'm like, so why did you even come, Zeph? And you could just tell the disappointment in Meredith's face. She's just looking at him like, no, honey, no. Like, what do you mean? This is a couple's trip. I want my couple here. Like, it's supposed to be a duo thing. What do you mean you're leaving in the morning? Zeph is just like, yeah, it's a work thing, allegedly. Are you sure you don't have to go film a podcast too? Because it seems like everybody's filming a podcast on this cast, and he's just like, yeah, I have to go, and it's gonna take a minute, I have to do a couple of layovers or whatever, and I'm gonna be cheating a little bit. I mean, I'm gonna be doing something for work or whatever, and I'm like, it just doesn't make sense because Meredith goes on to say, but honey, you just got home last afternoon. I just saw you 2 seconds ago, and now you're leaving again for work. Like it's just not making sense. And then in the confessional, she continues and she's like, honestly, these are the issues that me and Zeph have been having over the years, ever since we met. He's constantly, flying away or whatever, and it's just we never see each other because of his job. And I don't know, but I don't want to throw out any assumptions because I do like both of them together, but is it a possibility that Zeph is possibly cheating or has a whole different family somewhere else? Because it just doesn't make sense. Like, what exactly does he do for work that he's just constantly flying out every 5 seconds? Like, is it really that serious? And then on top of that, why would you even come on this trip and agree and not even give Meredith a warning? Like, I'm pretty sure that you had to know that you had to go on a work trip, allegedly, ahead of time. And now all of a sudden you just know now? So all the women go outside to relax by the pool. The men, they're on the other side of the pool. They start taking Vita tequila shots. Everybody's having a good time. They're relaxing until Braunwyn gets up to go use the bathroom. Now, all of a sudden, Lisa wants to bring up Heather. She's like, oh my God, I miss Heather. I miss Heather. I totally miss Heather. I wish she was here. Don't you wish she was here? Maybe I should call her. What do you think? Should I call her? I love that. I love the idea. Let me call Heather. And Heather was sitting in Salt Lake City in her home in the dark, like, okay, she's gonna call me anytime soon, any second she's gonna call me. Let me check. Let me make sure that my ringtone is all the way up. She's gonna call me anytime soon. I wonder what they're doing. Like, what's going on, any second now. Oh, that's her. Hey, Lisa. She wanted to be on this cast trip so badly. She was sitting there like, but I thought I was gonna be the center snowflake this season. No. So Lisa, she's on FaceTime with her and she's like, oh my God, baby gorgeous. Hi, Heather. Hi, Heather. Say hi to everybody. Hi, Heather. Look, there's Heather, my best friend. I love you, Heather. I wish you were here. I wish you were here. We're having such a good time here. All of a sudden, we see Braunwyn. She's making her way behind them and she's listening and she's like, wait, what's going on? What's happening here? I couldn't really fully wipe because the production, they told me that I had to rush out here because Lisa's having a phone call with Heather. What's going on? So Lisa was so petty. She was just like, oh my God, Heather, look who's here. Say hi to everybody. And I'm like, Lisa, you know what you're doing. My question is why? Why are you being malicious to Braunwyn? She's doing nothing but being nice to you. She invited you to this big ass expensive house, a big ass expensive jet plane, and then you want to be petty like this for what? She didn't do anything to you. Like, unless I missed it, she didn't do anything to you. So you're just blindly being loyal to Heather for no reason. Like, Braunwyn calls you out in a second because Braunwyn, she sits down. Heather, she hangs up. Heather was just like, wait, no, Lisa, Lisa, wait. Oh, man, I wanted to be on the phone a little longer. She's probably like, let me go call Brittany. Where is Brittany? I'm pretty sure that would have been Heather's +1 if she would have came. I would have loved to see. Who would have Brittany brought, though? She probably would have brought Jared or the other guy that she brought to the mob party, or both. I would like to see it. But, Braunwyn, now she has an issue with Lisa, rightfully so. She's like, Lisa, I just don't understand that you're babying Heather for what? She's not the victim in this situation. Like, yeah, I have an issue with her, but you don't care about my feelings. You don't treat me the same way that you do with Heather, which is interesting to me because Lisa, don't you have the same history with Braunwyn that you do with Heather? Like, you go back for years with Braunwyn, but I guess the friendship doesn't mean a thing. Whoa. And Lisa, she's like, what are you talking about? No, first of all, I didn't do anything to you. I just called Heather. What are you talking about, Braunwyn? Braunwyn is just like, I just don't understand it because I'm always defending you. Or if you have an issue with anybody else in the group, and they want to talk to me about you, I'm always defending you. I just defended you not too long ago on a hike with Whitney, and yet I could never get the same in return. And Braunwyn, you're slowly catching on now because Lisa, that's her pattern. She always expects everybody on the show or everybody in general to bow down to her and to give her the world. But then the second that you ask the same thing in return, she's like, that's not my issue. I didn't do anything to you. So that's just her pattern. And Lisa is just extremely oblivious. Like, to Lisa is only about Lisa. Like, and it's unfortunate. So they start going back and forth with this whole situation. Meredith, she tries to jump in it, and she's like, well, Braunwyn, I mean, Lisa, she did try to defend you in a way. And Braunwyn is just like, no, she didn't. You know, it's always about what Heather likes, what Heather does, what Heather this, what Heather that. And I just don't understand the blind loyalty. So Braunwyn, she's completely over this whole situation. She gets up and she's like, you know what? It's just so funny that, you know, I just always have to be blindly loyal to you, Lisa, or always have to defend you. But when it's the other way around, you know, you expect me to ride your dick like it's my job. And I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. I thought this was a classy party. Whoa. You know, first we had Justin, the other episode, he was telling John, oh, I'm gonna pound your ass. And now we have Braunwyn telling Lisa, oh, you want me to ride your dick like it's my job? Like, what kind of show is this? And why am I slightly turned on? You know, like, ugh. Well, first of all, let me get my notepad and my pen. You expect me to ride your dick like it's my job? I'm gonna use that in an argument next time. I might get into a fight with somebody tomorrow just to use it. You expect me to ride your dick like it's my job? Like, whoa. Whatever happened to missionary, right? So she walks away. Lisa's like, what did I do? I just don't understand. What did I do? I didn't do anything to her. And I'm like, Lisa, of course. Like, of course you didn't do anything, right? Meanwhile, we see Mr. Grumpy, you know, Todd, Santa Claus. He's just swimming around looking mad like, So Braunwyn, she goes inside. Whitney, she's in there. Braunwyn, she's going off as she should. She's like, I just don't understand Lisa. You know, we have a friendship, but she's just constantly up Heather's ass. And I don't understand that either. At this point, Heather, I mean, she got what she wanted, right? You know, she wants to be a part of the cool clique with Lisa. So I guess she got what she wanted. Then we see Santa Claus. You know, he comes in and he's slamming doors and shit. Even I got upset. I mean, I got scared a little bit. I'm like, uh-oh. You know, sir, I didn't do anything. I'm just here reviewing the show. And Whitney, she's like, I'm just going to go back outside to the pool and continue taking shots. Bye, Mr. Santa Claus. Bye, Braunwyn. I'll be outside, okay? Call me if you need help. And then she runs away. And then Todd, he is looking pissed. He is like, so what did I say? What did I say? What did I say, Braunwyn? What did I say? I clearly told you I didn't want any type of this drama with these people, especially her, Lisa. And I'm just over this. Like, this is supposed to be a relaxing trip, a relaxing moment, and I'm not gonna deal with this bullshit. So you need to get this shit together right now, or else we're gonna have a problem. Or else, you know, I could just fly them back out to Salt Lake City, give them some money. How much? Because, you know, I'm willing to negotiate. Like, I'll be willing to leave this cast trip depending on how much he gives me. But, you know, what, do I have to give them a car or something? But you need to fix this shit now or else I will. And I'm like, because Braunwyn, the entire time that he's basically scolding her, she was just like, you know, just looking down the whole time like, you know, she was looking more suspicious than Suspicious Sean. And I just didn't like the way he was talking to her like that. Like, first of all, you're not going to talk to me like that. Like, you don't run anything here. Okay, well, maybe you do, you know, because you have the money, but you don't run anything here. So then I went on Twitter, right? Because I'm like, okay, is it just me? But everybody on Twitter is Team Todd. Everybody's tweeting like, oh, he is such a man. He is this. Oh, he's so good. He's a good husband. He cares about his wife. I love a husband. That's a man. And I'm like, clearly me, I'm the minority because I don't like that type of behavior. Like, you're not going to talk to me like that. I don't care. I don't care who is pissing you off on this cast trip. You're just not going to talk to me like that. I am so sorry. And then on top of that, Todd, I'm not sure what cast specifically you thought you were getting your wife and yourself into on the show, but clearly you didn't watch the show before or how this works. Because you're on one of the most chaotic shows, one of the most chaotic casts on the Housewives, and you expect everything to be civilized, especially with Lisa? Like, if that's the case, then first of all, I think that the only point that I'll give him is that this whole trip shouldn't have been on their anniversary. That was a huge red flag. Like, Braunwyn, you should have never done that. Like, if that was your idea, because I mean, that's supposed to be a you and him thing. So I can see why he got pissed off of that. But everything else, no, it wasn't warranted. Like, you don't talk to your wife like that or talk to anybody like that. Like, you know, and now it has me thinking, She says she has her own money, but now I'm like, are you just gonna go along with that or just be his doormat because he has the money and he could just buy everything? Like, then he goes outside to talk to John. John, he's just sitting there on the chair like, wait, what's going on? So then Santa Claus, he's just like, this whole situation with you and your wife, you two are gonna have to go because I didn't sign up for this. I'm here to relax and this needs to stop. So then John, I'm thinking, okay, the way he went at it with Justin the other night, oh, you're gonna have some pushback, but he was just like, okay, sir, I'm gonna go talk to my wife. I'm like, oh, you little bitch. He gets up, he goes talk to Lisa. He's like, Lisa, Santa Claus said that we have to go if we continue with the drama, so we have to tone it down. I'm like, absolutely not, but I guess he feels that he's in control of everything because it's his house, his money, his pool, his tequila, his jewelry, his cars, his jet plane, maybe he is the star of the show. Maybe he does have a right to be upset, but not with me. But Lisa's like, I don't get it. What did I do? Of course you don't, Lisa. And it was left out of to be continued. But again, me personally, I just don't like the way Todd was talking like that. Like, just seemed like a very, very, like, he has a stick up his ass. And not in a good way either. Like, just so serious about everything. Like, just relax and, have fun. You don't see everybody else, on the show getting all upset or all the other husbands getting upset. Just go along with it. It's going to be a part of the show. If anything, I can see Braunwyn getting off the show in the future because of him. But, we shall see how this whole thing turns out. Let me know what you think about this whole episode down in the comments. Bye, everybody. Mwah. I'm going to ride your dick like it's my job. Like, what? Just nasty. But bye, everybody. Mwah.